All right, what is going on, everyone? And welcome back to the Mets Weekly Podcast as we are live at this very moment on YouTube and on X to recap the Mets versus Blue Jays series, along with all the latest news and rumors in New York Mets land. But before we get into that, I want to remind everyone to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel for new episodes of our show that are recorded live following every single regular season series. For those of you watching or listening on playback, you want to join the conversation in the future, make sure to turn on those post notifications to know when we go live. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X and on TikTok. Follow all of us on our listening platforms to not miss the audio version of new episodes that go up at 9 a.m. the following day of live recording. Also, make sure to give us a 5-star review. It'd be greatly appreciated. So without further ado, let's get into episode number 221 of our show. And Frank, you are back. Again, there's space in between the episodes you've been able to participate in, and listen, it's whatever, but there's been some changes that have obviously been made. There's been a managerial change and things like that. But there is one change that has not really switched at all, and that being that this team sucks absolute donkey balls. And at the trajectory that they are going to be sellers by the end of this month as we have crossed over to the path of July.
The more things change, the more they stay the same. And to a certain extent, the selling has begun a little bit with them trading David Pearson to the Cubs. Not that David Pearson was a massive piece for the team, but this was a guy that, like, he had just made a start. Like, he was someone who was in your starting rotation on a team that has struggled with pretty much all areas, but starting pitching is one of them, and you just gave it away. So a team that's trying to compete or wants to make a run at the wild card, regardless of how Pearson was performing this season, you don't trade from your starting rotation. So, I mean, I feel like that was just kind of like the first sign of, hey, this team is probably selling, and rightfully so. We are now in the month of July, and this team is, what, a half game away from the worst record in all of baseball? I mean, they're right in the mix with a handful of teams in both the National League and American League. So it's like, why would you think that they can make a run? And like we've talked about all year long, there's been good series. There's been good games. There's been some good, individual performances. But there has not been that sustained success. There has not just been even like a good week. Give me 2 good series in a row. Can you give me 3 good series in a row? Absolutely not. They have never been able to build on it. They never show signs that, okay, things are going to turn around. And some people said, oh, well, you know what? Once Lindor comes back, then things will turn around. Listen, he had a homer in this series, but overall, it's been an awful season for him on both sides. Offensively, I mean, you want to say like, oh, he's come after injury, fine. But the defense all year long has not been crisp. It's been like the total, like, just epitome of what this team has been. Sloppy, careless, no accountability. And that's what we saw. I mean, this is the guy who wanted to be captain, quote unquote, and he's just dropping the ball, no problem. You know what I mean? Like, you had other guys out here, Gold Glover, Marcus Semien, he's dropping the ball over the place, playing through injury, gets himself injured. At his age, we don't know when we're going to see him again. So it's just like, it's forcing the issue. I mean, it's just like all these things that you don't want to see is what is happening. And they changed the manager, and still you see the same mental mistakes. You still see underperformance, and still no accountability. So it's like, it's just very interesting because we're going to get to Cohen later on. So there's a lot of things to cover, but just overall, I mean, they have to sell. I mean, that's at the end of the day, it's like you just absolutely have to. I mean, this has been a total failure. Your team won the highest payrolls, yet one of the worst records in baseball. There's been some injuries, yes, but still, the guys that are out there with what they're getting paid, you should be playing better than you are, because there are plenty of teams that spend way less than you that are way better than you.
I mean, it's nothing short of a dumpster fire right now. And to be honest, there doesn't really seem to be a lot of things that you can lean back on. And listen, I would say that there's about, like, going forward for this team, like about 6 players worth of damn. Maybe you can argue that there's 4 or 5. And to be honest, you just don't know what the ceiling is in order of, how that transcends going forward. And listen, we've talked about, oh, well, the future is bright here. Well, when is that future going to become the present? Because that's the main frustration about this, is that they continue to burn through years. They've burned through a lot of Lindor's prime years as well. They've burnt through 2 prime Soto years now. So it's not like you can just sit here and say, well, we need to put ourselves in a full rebuild. You really can't. So that's the main reason as to why you're in this sort of extent where you kind of have to retool pretty much every single year, and you have to spend money that obviously you do have, but spend money. But again, you continue to see them make the wrong choices. And I do agree that the big major changes that they made over the offseason should have been made. To the direction where they went, it's not looking good at all. And I think we can all really agree right now that there's going to have to be a lot more, especially with how Cohen is viewing right now with Stearns of his latest comments, which we'll get into. There's going to have to be a need for huge adaptivity from David Stearns, because a lot of his tactics or methods here, they're just not working. So he's going to have to push off of a lot of it, or he is going to be a guy out of a job in the 2 years that they are saying he's likely going to play out his contract. So again, if he's going to be that guy, he's going to have to change a lot, because at the methods that we are going, the short-term contracts, the bloated AAVs for injury-prone players, like they really need to change a lot of it. And again, I'm not someone who, again, was fully on board with every single one of these moves, but I got it in terms of making the lineup deep. The problem is that most of them haven't been here to do so. Most of them have underperformed. And then you also have that other sector of the team, which I believe is the reason why this team is so awful, that being the 4 baby Mets, who are just have been different types of useless in so many different sectors. Sure, you can break things down, but there was other expectation for those guys, especially on what they built. And I don't see nearly any of those guys say, like, okay, if I were to put it right in front of you before we even started, Frank, let me ask you, out of these 4 guys, the Beatty, the Alvarez, the Mauricio, and Vientos, is there anybody that, okay, gun to your head, give a long-term extension to be long-term for this team?
No.
Pull the trigger, right?
Yeah,
Pull the trigger. No, exactly. Like, that's the thing. Like, again, not everybody's a superstar, not everybody is a star, but it's like there is systematic issues with these young players.
There's no growth. Like, there's no internal development. There's no improvement. If anything, it's a majority of regression. I mean, all these guys, you would think that, like, as they're starting to get closer to prime years, that you'd make improvements, you make adjustments. And for all these guys, they've just gotten worse, and for some of them, significantly worse. Like, Vientos and Beatty have fallen off a cliff. Like, they're not even major league players this year.
Players in baseball.
Yeah, they're not, and Mauricio too. Like, they're not even major league players this year. I mean, they're like worse than bad. I mean, like, really, really bad on both sides. You know what I mean? Like, you see Vientos in the field just at first base is a nightmare. I mean, that has not been a fun watch at all. And then just offensively, I mean, all those guys have been really brutal. Even Alvarez, like, I know he's 3rd in the team in OPS plus, but the overswinging, I mean, and again, like, you would think that as you get older, you might get a little smarter with your decision making. His overswinging has gotten worse. I mean, this guy is just not caring, regardless of the situation, whether it's 2 outs, 2 strikes, men on, nobody on. It's the same swing, just over swinging like crazy, and just not making contact either. You know what I mean? Like, the approach has just been so hard for him. I know he's had some home runs and this, that, and the other, but just overall, like, when you're trying to be a winning team, you're not making smart decisions to help the team win. You're just trying to get home runs for yourself at that point. You're not trying to get the sacrifice fly. You're not trying to get the RBI single. Like, you're just there. If I strike out, oh, well, at least I took a big swing. I mean, he's going to, lead the league in double plays. You know, he's got 11 of those. I mean, it's just really been a brutal watch. And same thing with Vientos. I mean, he's another guy. He's got 10 double plays. Like, the way they can't make up for in other areas because of the lack of speed, the lack of defense. Like, it's just so frustrating when you see the guys who are significantly younger than him, like somebody like AJ Ewing, for example, who looks like he's been in the league 10 years more than these other guys, yet he's the rookie. Like, it feels so opposite. Like, it just doesn't make any sense that these two rookies in Benj and Ewing are light years ahead of where all these other guys are.
Yeah, and that's the biggest point that I would make is basically just talking about like the new regime of guys that were brought in, of the reason why I talk about the old regimes and all the turnover. And again, it's not in fully these young guys' fault as to why they're in the position that they are in. It's more of just about, again, the organizational deficiency that has been the deal for decades now. But it's not the fact of just that. It's also the fact of, well, they're being put in this position to be everyday players when they haven't been everyday players. They haven't been great. And it comes to a point where you're like, okay, yeah, we have to get rid of the bad coaches or the bad officials that are bad at this that didn't help. But you also have to get rid of the ones that they have infected as well. Like you have, like, because then if there's that, it also will spread on to the next. Like, that's the problem. And that's what you're seeing with Beatty, Vientos, Mauricio, Alvarez. Like, there's some things that you can say in a vacuum these guys do well, but not to a certain degree where they're everyday players. And listen, like guys like Alvarez probably is the best of the ass that we're talking about as of right now. His bat, I do believe, can at least be salvageable to major league level. His defense... It looks makes like me believe he's a DH.
Yeah, I was about to say it looks like he's been DHing a little more, and with the mini extension that they gave to Torrens, I wonder if that's a direction they may go, because they've struggled so much offensively as a team. In total, they don't have like a true DH, and you don't want Vientos out there just to be out there. Same goes for Ronnie. Like I think that, and with the way he's swinging, like I said, I mean he's taking the swings of a DH now. Yeah. The inconsistency with where they bat him in the lineup, I don't know. Like, it's weird. He's 9 sometimes he's 6 or whatever. But like I said, with the kind of approach he has, I don't know where to bat him. Because it's like, I don't want to put him middle of the order if you just get up there just taking massive swings. At that point, you might as well just bat 9th.
Yeah, no, it's the overcompensation.
I think overall, they're having a tough time kind of implement these young players, the Ewing and Benj, into what they currently have. I mean, to me, I think a lot of people are not batting at the spot that's most beneficial to them. Like, for me, I think AJ Ewing should be hitting leadoff with the kind of approach that he has, way he gets on base, the speed he has. Like, to me, I would bat him leadoff. And for Benj, I put him kind of like, middle, kind of to lower part of the order, maybe like 6. I would say is like a good spot for Benj, maybe 5. And then overall, now Lindor his calling was leadoff. And he just looks weird in the middle of the order. Like, it just doesn't, it does not look comfortable. The at-bats have just not been pretty. And they're in a tough spot because you have someone like Soto who's having an insane year. I mean, that's something that's been really unfortunate. OPS over 950, and you have to bat him second because you just need more ABs from him. But I think with the way this team's assembled, you would like Soto more middle of the order, but with how he's been playing, he has to get the most ABs. So he has to bat second.
Yeah, I think and
that leaves Bichette just like... Bichette's also kind of table settery. He's in the middle of the order. Like, it's just weird fits all the way around.
I think at this point, you're just basically just putting whatever you can together and just playing baseball at this point. Because, like, they're in a current position where I don't even think, and this is a good point from one of our fellow podcasters, John Saponaro. He's talked about how, like, at this point, the wins and losses don't even matter because they've dug themselves into a hole where, where are they coming back for that? Like, that there's just no way that's going to happen. I mean, what are you, 15 games under 500 at this current moment? You're about to play the top of the division tomorrow for a 4-game set. I mean, how big of a hole can you dig yourself at this point? And I think that they're just piecing just stupid lineups together of whatever they're doing. We saw some of these changes that they made with Lindor in the cleanup spot, which I really don't like. I prefer him probably being batting. I probably would have gone. I would go again if you're trying to win, which it doesn't even look like they have any effort to do so right now. I would go Benj, Lindor, Soto, Bichette. But again, I don't know. I have absolutely no idea, what that winning formula looks like because they just haven't been winning at all. That's the problem.
Yeah, and I would say also, I mean, Benj, he's got 10 homers. I feel like he would also maybe benefit a little more from being Not, I mean, I know nowadays the new leadoff, like it's a different game of baseball they played than back in my day, but a lot of times your guys that have a little more power would not be batting leadoff, but that's changed in this current era of baseball. But for me, I said,
I also don't want to put the full-fledged Alvarez power threat in Benj's mind, because I think that he's a lot more valuable when he's keeping the balance.
He can keep his approach. I think
that's what made him such great as a prospect.
He can keep his approach, but I think like a lot of Met years, it feels like a little too many solo home runs. I think it's something that it's like you want to try to maximize. Pretty much all they did
in this series.
Yeah, it's like you want to try to like maximize your run total, and I just feel like the way they're constructed, it's not really doing that. And I just think, like you said, is what do you want them to be? It's like what is the vision? Like, do you want Bench to be the leadoff hero of the future? Do you want it to be Ewing? Because at that point, it's like you might as well just get them reps at what it is that you want them to be. So I think that's kind of what I think about too.
What I want them to do is take all 4 of these Mets kids, put them in a box, and then just basically push them, down the harbor, and wherever they land. Like that's where I'm at. That sector of the team. Again, if all 4 of them are with this organization by the end of this year or next year, then that makes me really believe that they just have no direction whatsoever, because there's only so many chances you can give everyday reps to players that have just been so awful and some of the worst in all of baseball, not just offensively, defensively. I mean, it's just, you go down the line of those 4, it just shows you the epitome of what the Mets have lacked for so long with their player development. And then you look at Benj and Ewing, of guys of like, okay, maybe this is the new start of guys actually developing into young talent. We've seen, in the farm system, a lot of these guys make strides. Hasn't been a fantastic year, let's just say. A lot of injuries, a lot of inconsistency, but you do see a little bit more of the player development as of right now, at least starting to seep through the cracks of guys being able to possibly be everyday major league players. And that's the thing that I think they need as of right now, because a lot of people are kind of sitting here star chasing of overall, oh, we need this superstar. No, you need MLB players, MLB caliber players. You have Lindor, you have Soto, you have these stars. You need everyday MLB players. That's what Benj and Ewing have been so far. In comparison to Beatty, Alvarez, like, you can argue that none of them belong in the lineup, but they'll go in the lineup because they got nobody else.
Yeah, and I saw a rumor about like something about Willie Adames, and I was like, what's going on here?
That was Buster Olney trying to. That was Buster Olney, I think, trying to pluck it.
Yeah, I'm like, isn't our infield enough of a mess here? I mean, don't we already have enough guys out of position? Like, what are we doing here? I just. That one, like you said, there's no reason to start Chase right now. That's not going to help you. No. They just have to figure out like a team. I mean, that's ultimately what it comes down to. It's like, build the team first, then you could plug in your star. Because right now, I mean, there's just too many holes. Way too many.
Yeah, that's what it looked like going into this season. The problem is they missed a lot of different details. Obviously, I think, Polanco made the lineup deep. You had the Bichette, and you had, Robert from the bottom part of the lineup, even though he started to play well, and then he started to struggle. Then he got hurt. We haven't seen him since. Started up his rehab this week. But the thing is that the depth that was so prevalent and in such of a deep feel to this lineup going into the year that I felt, it's so gone now. Because, again, you just don't, even if these guys come back, it's like, what are they going to give you with everything of this year just completely stunted and pretty much lost at this point? I mean, it's just a mess at this current moment of not even just the roster construction, the leadership, the accountability, where I just don't want to hear from them. I don't want to see anything. I'm just going to watch the baseball games, and I just want to see it with very subtle movement. Like, I don't want to hear from Stearns anymore. I don't want to hear from Cohen anymore. I don't want to hear from anybody. I just want to see the rest of this season just play out. I'll watch some of the young guys that are exciting. The McLean, the Scott, the Ewing, the Benj. Lindor and Soto are here, even though I have some questions about some stuff going forward. It's just so brutal to watch, considering the expectation we went into this year where I don't think anybody, again, there were people that were obviously down on it because they wanted to, continue to lose with their homegrown guys, and I get it. But there was an expectation that this would be at least a contending playoff team. This team is bottom of the barrel. This team is one of the worst in all of baseball. There's things that are encouraging, but not good enough to talk about a contender. There's things that are encouraging, because right now, this team has encouraging signs on it for a rebuilding team. And when a rebuilding team has Lindor and Soto on it, where they're not going to rebuild, you have no idea where the direction is going to come from. And that's what makes it very, very scary, especially when you're talking about the possibility of a shortened season next year, or possibly no season next year with a CBA. Or just, these players getting older, these stars in their prime getting older, because they will get older. And that's what's really scary about it. Not the fact that they let somebody go, or the fact that they don't have somebody here, or, the Nimmo, Alonso, McNeil era's done. That doesn't scare me at all. They had to move on from that. The problem is the direction where they're going forward, and that's where it gets very, very scary, especially when you just don't know. They keep so much in the air. They keep a lot in the air, and we're going to need a little bit more of definitive answers. That's basically what I think is the goal here. If Steve Cohen has David Stearns stick around for the remainder of his contract, which we will get into later on. But first off, we do have to get into this series that was in Toronto. Luckily, this highlight video is only like 4 minutes long, because this team basically refused to hit the entire game. So here's that. Mets versus Blue Jays. Game 85, 86, and 87 of 162. Roll the tape. Back on the road for a 3-game set in the 6th, Sean Manaea would make his 4th start of the year and get greeted rudely by his own defense. First inning, George Springer would lead off, ripping one into left field that would skip past Juan Soto and roll all the way to the wall. Center fielder A.J. Ewing would also mishandle the ball as Springer would round all the bases, putting Toronto up 1-0 after 1. Fast forward all the way to the 5th, runner at third, 1 out. Miles Straw would plate Luis Urias with a sacrifice fly to center field, putting the Jays up 2-0. Manaea would pitch into the 6th and get the first 2 outs, but exit after a fielding error by Francisco Lindor, followed by a walk, as Austin Warren would come in to finish the inning, striking out Luis Urias and closing the book on Manaea. 5 2/3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts on 90 pitches. The Mets would finally get on the board in the 7th against Trey Savage. Francisco Lindor would lead off, launching his 3rd home run of the year to the closed-off bullpen in right field, getting the Mets within a run. Warren would come back out for the 7th and toss a 1-2-3 inning with a strikeout. He'd also come back out for the 8th as well, but surrender back-to-back base runners to start the frame, leading to his exit for Joey Gerber. Gerber would retire the next 3 hitters with 2 strikeouts to retire the side. As for the Mets offense, they would get the tying run on in the 7th, 8th, and 9th, but failed to score, going 0 for 9 with runners in scoring position to drop the series opener in Toronto 2-1. In Game 2, the Mets offense would finally get out in front in the 5th inning against Kevin Gausman. Francisco Alvarez would launch his 9th home run of the year, a solo shot off the high wall padding in straightaway center to open the scoring. Noel McLean would make the start, and he was the sharpest he's been in quite a while, pitching through the 6th and ending his day with 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts on 91 pitches. The Mets would add on in the 7th. Luis Torrens would launch his 2nd home run of the year to the opposite field bullpen, extending the Mets' lead to 2. Brooks Raley would pitch the 7th and toss a 1-2-3 inning with 2 strikeouts on 10 pitches. Luke Weaver would pitch the 8th and toss a 1-2-3 inning as well, extending his scoreless inning streak to 24. The Mets would get some insurance in the road 9th. Runner at third, 1 out. Brett Beatty would plate A.J. Ewing with a sacrifice fly to center field, putting the Mets up by 3. Devin Williams would come on for the 9th and work around a 2-out single to end it, securing his 12th save of the season and evening up the series with a shutout win 3-0. And in the series finale on Canada Day, Freddie Peralta would get the start and struggle once again. First inning, 2nd and 3rd, no one out. Kazuma Akamoto would open the scoring, legging out a infield single, plating Nathan Lucas. Next inning, 2 on, 2 out. Ernie Clement would drive an RBI double over the head of Carson Benj in right field, scoring Okamoto. Next batter, Sean Keyes would launch a 3-run homer to the opposite field, putting Toronto up 5-0 after 2 innings. Peralta would only get through the 4th and end his day with 4 innings pitched, 7 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts on 91 pitches. Joey Gerber would pitch the 5th and toss a scoreless inning and come back out for the 6th, only getting 1 out before leaving with an injury. Cioniel Perez would take over and finish the inning with back-to-back strikeouts. He'd also come back out for the 7th and get into some trouble. Runner at third, 1 out, Dalton Varsho would ground an RBI single up the middle, plating Vlad Jr. And later on in the inning, 2 on, 1 out, Miles Straw would launch a 3-run shot to left field, extending the Jays' lead to 9. A.J. Minter would take over and get the final out of the inning. The Mets would get on the board in the 8th, runner on, 2 out, Carson Benj would launch his 10th home run of the year to left center, a 2-run shot, making it a 7-run game. Minter would come back out for the home 8th and toss a 1-2-3 inning. As in the 9th, Francisco Lindor would launch his 4th home run of the year, a solo shot over the bullpen in left field, but the Mets would drop the series finale in Toronto 9-3. The Mets are now 36-51 on the year, traveling to Atlanta for a 4-game set with the Braves starting tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, we're through it. That's good. All right. Anyways, reliving it. Frank, this is obvious considering what is on the screen right now and considering the title of this this episode, but let's just say it. 27 innings were played. They scored, let's see. There's like 7 runs in this entire series.
Yep.
Not 1 hit with runners in scoring position. 0 for 17 in total. And that pretty much just tells you exactly where we are at right now with where, okay, is the offense going to show up? Is the pitching going to show up? Some encouraging performances, let's just say that. But, you start off with that first game. No run support whatsoever. It seemed like the Mets only wanted to hit with the bases empty. That was pretty much it. At least you are seeing Sean Manaea at least, show you half of what he was showing you a few years ago. Not to the point as to what we were seeing, but at least to some salvageable point. That's good, where he's been able to show and look like, a pitcher again. I think that's basically what he said in his post-game interview, saying, hey, I feel like a pitcher again. You start off right after the gate. The inside the park home run, or a triple plus E8 or whatever you want to call it. Epitome of what the Mets have been this year. Sloppy, unwatchable, uninspiring. The ball skips past Soto, and then I guess the ball had some kind of disease on it because even A.J. Ewing couldn't get a good grip on it whatsoever. And right out of the gate, down 1-0, which seems to be something that they have been very accustomed to recently, of going down early already and just finding themselves already down 1-0, 2-0 in early hole. That first game, it seemed like, well, half of them were on the plane to Toronto still.
Yeah, you're not facing a great Blue Jays team, and you face, Kevin Gausman's a good pitcher, but some of these other guys that were out there, not all that great. And you talk about that first game, and you can just see as you look down the lineup, you see Benj got on and Soto got on a couple times, Lindor at the homer. You had A.J. Ewing draw a walk, but then you have Vientos, who goes 0 for 4 on a couple strikeouts. Then you have Beatty, who goes 0 for 2. Oh, Ryan Mauricio came in for later on. He's 0 for 2 with a strikeout. You know what I mean? So it's just you could just see the fall off. It's once you get through these guys, that whole, like you said, that whole core has really just been what has sunk this team. It's kind of they have something going, and then these other guys come in, and then they just totally blow it. And then you showed it in that one game. It's been particularly that 9th inning where you saw Vientos, just wailing, nowhere close. Mauricio just so off balance. That's the thing, is that the swing and misses that you're seeing from these young guys is like they're not even close. Like they're not even like making good contact and getting unlucky. There's none of that. These guys are just like so lost. They're so far off that like I said, they just shouldn't be here. I mean, all of them, they just are not looking like major league players, and it's very, very frustrating because when it's a one-run game and you have all these opportunities, you just need something. You don't even need a hit. Just put the ball in play. Get a sacrifice fly. Get an RBI ground out. Like, there's other ways you could score. You don't have to get a hit, but you just cannot be having these strikeouts where you're not even close. These huge swings. There is no approach. I mean, there's no changing of swings. Even someone like Soto, who's an amazing power hitter, he still chokes up on the bat. He has a two-strike swing. You know what I mean? He has like an emergency hack. I mean, even Bichette, like, he puts the ball in play. The quality of contact now is great, but he at least gets bat on ball. I mean, these other guys, like I said, they're just up there with the same game plan. Just, I'm going to swing as hard as I can. I'm probably not going to hit it. If I don't, oh well, I'm still going to play because we have nobody else. And it just kind of feels like that on the defensive side, too. It's like, boot the ball around, no problem. No one cares. Like, just move on. Like, it's just very uninspired, and it's just super frustrating. I mean, it's just such a, you showed only a couple of minutes, and it felt like you could tell the whole season with that. It's like because we've seen those same instances, inexcusable defensive miscues, striking out with men on base, poor pitching from Freddie Peralta, like all that stuff's been going on the whole season. This was not just a Mets Blue Jays series recap. This is a how are you one of the worst teams in baseball record wise. Those are all the ways how. I mean, it's just something that we've seen time and time again, and at some point it's like you have to expect it because you've seen it so many times. It's just that like this is now the expectation because they do this so frequently. It shouldn't be based off the names that are out there, but the reality, this is what they've been.
Yeah, they find different ways to not score. They find different ways to not drive runs in situations like this. And it's funny because when you talked about those back-to-back of Vientos and Mauricio in that first game, right before that, you have AJ Ewing draw this fantastic walk beforehand. And it just shows you the difference, again, in between the Benj and the Ewing and then this big four of sadness.
And Ewing, the guy who's 21... has the right approach and a good eye. Like,
the
you
guy
can't
who's
make
21, he's spitting on all these pitches from Louis Varland, who is one of the best relievers in all of baseball, right, as of right now. And then it just shows you, okay, then Mark Vientos also, he strikes out, obviously. We've seen that movie so many times before. Then he also he challenges a pitch.
Oh, that's the other thing, too. I'm so sorry. Thank you for mentioning that. This whole season, they've been terrible with the challenges.
We had a segment on that a few weeks ago, yeah.
And Alvarez in particular has been really bad with challenges, both when he's hitting and when he's behind the plate. And you think that the catcher would have some idea of what the strike zone is? No clue. I mean, they challenge. Most of the time they're wrong. I mean, they challenge not in high leverage, just in bad spots, and it's just like it shows you they don't know what the strike zone is because they challenge calls that are correct. And their challenges have been so bad all the time. They burn them in the beginning of the game.
The entire ball was in the strike zone on that second out that AB by Vientos in the top of the ninth in the first game of this series. The entire ball was in the strike zone. He challenges it. But that also has to go with, Swaggy V, who thinks, he's above all. And, he's also a very selfish player. Like, we can say that. Like, he does not care what's going on around him. His attitude stinks. And that just continues to go on with that. And then you have Ronnie Mauricio, who, again, I wish it was different. I really do. Because I do think that in a perfect world, the kid could be something. But he's not. And he hasn't been. He hasn't been one for a long time. He's lost a lot of time. I feel bad for him. But again, there's just nothing that you can do at this point. And he just offers it pretty much anything. He didn't throw him a single fastball in that AB. It was changeup, knuckle curve that was way in the dirt, had to be blocked. And then a knuckle curve right after that at the bottom part of the zone. It just shows you that Ronnie Mauricio hasn't even played that much in the majors because of injuries, because of who he had blocked in front of him, because, Brett Beatty has to play so much. He hasn't played that much, but the book is out on him that this guy cannot hit a curveball. This guy cannot hit some sliders in the other batter's box. Why even throw him a fastball at all? There's just nothing to offer right now because he offers it everything. Like that's basically it with him. And, do I blame most of the Mets development because of that, of the later stages of development? Yes. But maybe we're going in a different direction of Benj and Ewing, where they have been look like more polished major league players in such shorter time.
It's like, you know what? Benj and Ewing got coached by the same people in AAA when they sent down Ronnie. Like, they were teammates at some point. Like, I mean, what happened there? Like, why did it stick with these guys but not with you?
Well, he's always been like that. Let's be real.
Yeah,
he's always
exactly. I think to some extent, it's like you are what you are. It's like it's hard to teach plate discipline. It's hard to teach plate vision, and it's just like Ewing has it, and these other guys don't. And they're not going to get it. Like, it is what it is.
There's a lot of things that make them very disappointing. Let's just
say because
that.
Even Soto, like, he didn't learn this skill at 27. When Soto came up when he was like 19 with the Nationals, he had an incredible eye. So this is something you either have or you don't have. And it's just like with these guys, they have no approach, so you can't teach it to them because they like you said, he doesn't know what's going on. He can't hit a curveball, he can't hit a slider, but also can't lay off it. So it's like, what do you do if you're a coach? It's like, I mean, you're at a loss at that point.
Selection. Yeah, that's the crazy part about, I'd say, these four guys, and I don't want to rag on them for the entire episode because there's plenty of other stuff on this team that has been a disaster. But of these four guys, they have some of the worst hit tools imaginable. Like I just, from so many different aspects, from the pitch selection, from the swing decisions, from, the inability to square up middle pitches. Like they are just so offline. And it's like, how many times can you give chances to them? But that's the thing. These guys have no incentive to try better or do anything or change anything or make any adjustment, because what do we have to go to? Like what exactly do we have to go to? Like let's say, you lose Beatty, right? Or if you get rid of Beatty, who's bringing? Is it Christian Arroyo? Is he going to challenge him from AAA? Like, no, that's not going to happen.
I mean, these guys are barely batting over 200. It wouldn't be much of a challenge. I mean, how much more could you do? Like, exactly. You can't. It's hard to be worse. I mean, and these guys are getting worse too. That's the thing, is that it just feels like with Vientos and Beatty and Ronnie, like, it just feels like they just continue going downhill. They're not showing any signs of turning around, not showing any signs of improving this season. It just feels like they keep getting worse.
To simply put it, burnt toast, Popeye. I am what I am. That's basically what they are. That this is basically, the bet is made. And I've heard, with the latest discourse on these kids and people saying, oh, well, wait until they get somewhere else and they become a star. Cool story, bro. Don't care. Genuinely do not care. And when that does happen, call me, because I doubt it's going to happen, because these guys don't have the tools to do so. These guys have to hit in order to do something. That's the thing. These guys, it's not just the results in hand, and I'd already talked about this so much, from Beatty, Alvarez, Vientos, and Mauricio. These guys are some of the dumbest people in the world. I'm going to tell you, like, these guys actually have the lowest IQ possibly of the entire league. If you were to do an IQ test throughout the entire league, like, these guys all would be in the bottom 10 percentile. They're so stupid and unaware. And I'm calling it like it is here. Like, yeah, we've seen like at least 4 to 5 year stretch of this. These guys are so dumb. The challenges, their throw decisions, their defensive lapses, the base running issues too. Like, that they are dumb on the base pass as well. I mean, you saw the epitome in this series as well. Was it the second game of this series or the first game? Ronnie Mauricio almost hit Alvarez, or did hit Alvarez on the arm with a practice swing in the on-deck circle. This is by far the dumbest group of prospects or top prospects. And it just shows you what type of talent was considered top talent in this organization at one point. Now you're looking at guys like Benj and Ewing, and maybe you have a little bit of hope going forward, which hopefully, I pray, there's more to come. There's more intangible type of players, and not every single one of them is going to hit. But Beatty, Alvarez, Mauricio, Vientos are all a disappointment in so many different levels, individually and all together. There's just nothing else you can do. And what I just can't stand seeing this. I feel like I do need to make like a compilation video of all these guys just having zero IQ, because it happens every night. Alvarez challenging the wrong pitch, not challenging something at all, not being able to block something that is extremely blockable behind the plate. Those little things, again, like we talked about doing the little things correctly, where it was in loss to, guys like Alonso and Nimmo, like they had their mental lapses too. These guys don't do it either. Like that's why I always say, yes, people argue that they shouldn't have turned this entire team around, and they shouldn't have let go of who they got rid of. I argue that they did not get rid of enough. And hopefully that's the start of getting rid of enough, because I've had enough of these four guys. They're the epitome of why this team sucks, personally, in my opinion. Like, the epitome. There's other reasons, but the epitome of why this team sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's kind of like, it's a mix between those young guys and the starting pitching blowups of Peralta and Senga and some others. Because it's like, it feels like if Peralta just gets blown, is a blowout, then what could you do? But in a game where it is close, like Manaea pitches or Nolan or somebody, and the offense doesn't come through, it's because of those hitters. So it's if it's not one thing, it's another. And when you have multiple massive problems, that's how you get one of the worst records in the league. If you were just a team that was struggling with the hitting or just a team that's struggling with the pitching, you can still be middle of the pack, maybe like a little below 500, but still in the mix. When you're struggling in all areas, that's how you end up with one of the worst records.
You get to that second game, Nolan McLean, very sharp, looked good. I thought it was a lot better. He was struggling a little bit at the beginning, but then he kind of harvested it in a little bit. 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, no earned runs. You love that. Putting up the zeros. Went through 6, gave us the length. We knew that eventually he was going to figure it out. It's all really just about harvesting what he can harvest. Sometimes he gets into those lapses. He's a young pitcher. It's going to happen. But, definitely a good bounce back or a good establishing start for him. And then the bullpen. I mean, we haven't even talked about as much. We just kind of hint on it constantly, of the full-on shout out of everything. Like, Raley has been himself. He's had a few rough outings, but has been himself. Devin Williams has at least harvested it in recently. Has had some blow-ups, obviously. AJ Minter has been perfect, I think. I don't think he's given up a earned run yet. And then you get to Luke Weaver, who is now riding a 24 consecutive inning scoreless streak right now. So, like, that's been your most solid part of this team, most solid department of this team. And it is so weird when you see how bad this team is in one-run games. And then you see the bullpen being as dominant as it has been, especially with the starter blow-ups. It's a very odd team, but it's also very bleak at the same time of what this team does well and what it doesn't. And, that second game, you get homers from both catchers, which, again, is random. Last time that happened was 2019, a 13-inning game against the Tigers. Tomas Nido, a walk-off home run. And then earlier in that game, Wilson Ramos homered. So, the catcher tandem both goes deep, but they're both solo home runs, right? And, again, keeps the game close, of course. And hitless with runners in scoring position once again, like we said, 0 for 7. You see the flashes, but putting it all together just wasn't it. It wasn't it. They still have just not been able to do so. But Frank, we knew that Nolan McLean eventually he was going to figure out things that were going to work. Considering the arsenal he has, considering how talented he is, it just all really was a matter of time. And personally, I think it comes to the point as to why it's no surprise to me that Luis Torrens was behind the plate for it. I'm sorry. Like, again, I know you're an Alvarez fan, but like, we can see the difference between Alvarez behind the plate and Torrens. There's a huge gap in between them defensively, and it definitely affects the pitcher too.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, we know that everyone has their guy. Like, everyone has people that they work bad with, they could struggle with. Yeah. With Nolan, it feels like it's been an up and down season. Like, you'll see some nice starts and some bad starts. And I think you can say that, like, for a lot of this rotation. Like, I mean, Freddie was awful this series, but he's had, like, all right starts, but then he's had, like, unacceptable starts. So it's just been that kind of season for a lot of these guys, and just a lot of inconsistencies to the point where you don't know what to expect, what to do, and the Mets find themselves in a tough position because, you know, when you acknowledge that, okay, listen, this rotation has struggled with Senga as well. Like, how do you build it? Like, how do you try to build around Nolan? You don't want to call up Jonah Tong because he's, you know, struggled in AAA again. So you already traded Sproat, and with how Freddie's pitching, it's like, I don't know how you could extend him. But at the same point, who wants to trade for a guy who has one of the worst ERAs in the league? But at the other sense, you're like, how do you trade away Sproat and Jet despite their struggles, but still trade them and get nothing back just to have Freddie walk? Like, no matter what, you just have a lot of questions, and it basically puts the point where, like, okay, all you have is Nolan then. It's like you're relying on Nolan to figure it out, be a consistent ace, because outside of him, what do you really have? I mean, unless you want to go to Clay Holmes about a potential extension, this rotation is just in a really, really tough spot going forward. So they need this version of Nolan, because the rest is
I do think that they're at a level where they can get innings from young pieces, because I do think that they're a little bit more of the more polished now that we've continued on. Like, Zach Thornton had a really good start last series against the Phillies, a raging hot Phillies offense. Could he be someone you put in the back of your rotation?
They're right on the heels of the Braves. I mean, let's not forget. Yeah. I mean, it can't go unnoticed, but
they're good right now.
When the Phillies fired their manager, and they were like
time.
Yeah, they were like right with the Mets. I mean, both of them were towards the bottom half of the league. Phillies were below 500. And now, you know, Don Mattingly takes over. They go on a huge run. And the Braves have struggled a little bit lately. And now they're 2.5 games back. I mean, just like that. I mean, they're right there in second place. And like you said, that is a tough team. I mean, they have some of the best players at specific positions. I mean, between pitching and hitting, they're tough to navigate. I mean, that Schwarber-Harper tandem is deadly. You throw in some of their other guys, the pitching of like Sanchez and Wheeler, like they have such high talent level. So for Thornton to come in there, get it done, that was impressive, because we've seen some other pitchers where, I mean, what was that other game? It was like 50 to 2 or something. They were like, oh, touchdown Eagles or something. Like it was a disaster against that same lineup. So that definitely was very nice from Thornton.
Yeah, that was the Peralta blow up, I think, right? He gives up 10 runs or whatever. But the thing is that when I look back at, you know, like things with the Phillies getting lapped in decision making by Dave Dombrowski, like that's an indictment on Stearns. I'm sorry. When you fire, you know, Rob Thompson, who has done more than Carlos Mendoza did for the Phillies in comparison to the Mets, having them consistently going to the playoffs since he's been their manager, took them to the World Series. Yes, they've gone backwards. Yes, they have their systematic problems as well. Same thing goes for Alex Cora, who, again, Red Sox going in a completely different direction, one of the worst teams in all of baseball as well, but he also brought them a World Series. Like, then you hold on to Carlos Mendoza, and it's like, where's the balance?
Yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to make one point with I probably have a lot of points, but the one that I wanted to make with Mendoza is that they showed a graphic of like tenures as far as like Mets managers going like from Terry Collins on, and like Terry Collins has had the longest, but since then Mendoza was the second longest. Like everyone else got like 2 years. And what I find so fascinating is that all these other guys the Mets have fired, you look at Mickey Callaway, Luis Rojas, Buck is a little bit of a different circumstance because of his age, but those other guys never became managers again. So it's like, why would they your manager if no other team wants them? Because I remember hearing, when they fired Rojas, I was like, oh, Luis Rojas, he's gonna be a good manager someday. Oh, Luis Rojas is gonna get a managerial job. He's there chilling with Aaron Boone in the dugout.
Yeah.
He's not doing nothing. He's not doing anything. Exactly. He wore a third base helmet at one point. Like that's not a manager. And after you saw this team be, far too often one of the worst teams, no accountability, no fight for the manager. Who wants to hire Carlos Mendoza? Because, how many times they still, we talk about, like, rookie manager versus experienced coach or whatever. Like, they don't take established guys. They don't. Yeah. All these guys, Mickey Callaway was not established. Rojas, not established. Mendoza, not established. Buck was, and again, the age was...
List.
Oh, yeah, different list. But as far as an experienced manager, established manager, not the case. Don Mattingly is... No. He's had his ups and downs. He's like an old school guy and stuff like that. But
he's a leader. We
know who that is.
They respect him.
we know Don Mattingly. But with the Mets, it's like what and then even like you have Green taking over now. Is he an established manager? No. So
not really. No, he has experience, not great experience though. And that's the thing that I talked about with the manager. And again, this is a whole separate tangent. We talked about the Mets media kind of just like slobbering over Carlos Mendoza after he was fired, saying, oh, it's not his fault. He's just a great baseball man and everything. He probably won't get another managing job ever again.
They said the same exact words for Rojas. They were like, Rojas is so respected, such good communicator.
My industry sources are telling me, everybody loves this guy, and he never gets a job ever again. It's just such fabricated bullshit of where that just gets completely sent off to me. But that also is the other thing with Andy Green that I also said on here. I think it was either last episode or the before. It's so hard to see the players actually buying in to somebody like Andy Green. Because, maybe Andy Green is a likable guy. Maybe he is. But they know he's not going to be there next year. They know, how are they going to trust that? That's the reason as to why.
And also, Andy is he's like a very dry personality. There's just not, and I just feel like, what's the change? What is the actual change between Mendoza
whose comments can get him in trouble? With Andy Green?
Yeah.
He seems to be a guy a very dry personality, and then some comments can get him in trouble. That. I've noticed that. It's a different message from Mendoza. Is it the right one?
He gave the same message over. Mendoza said the same excuses 3 years in a row, word for word, the same crap. Oh, we're gonna get through it. Oh, he said the same stuff, and it was it was the same result.
It basically just shows you the inability to read the room that I think that this franchise has. You had an interview. I was actually talking about this with our fellow creators earlier on, where Andy Green was asked about the condition of Senga earlier today or yesterday, and they said that I know everybody's going to focus on the home run to Schwarber, but it was 5 innings of 2-run ball and a really good fork ball. So listen, in technical terms, he's correct, but that's not what people want to hear, because fans are looking at it as, okay, mathematically, that home run to Schwarber lost them the game. So again,
and you have that multiple lefties in your bullpen late in the game that you could go to. Isn't that the whole reason why you have them? Don't even put him in that position. Schwarber is looking like, and I'm not even really exaggerating right now. Schwarber is looking like Babe Ruth sometimes. This guy is just out there and he's just hitting home runs.
He's got the physique too.
He has that too. He's a big lefty.
Hey, we love Schwarber around here.
No, we do. Oh no, I say it's a compliment. I'm serious. This guy is just a threat every time he's at the batter's box. I'm terrified. He's killed the Mets in so many different uniforms for so many years. And he's getting older, and he's not aging. Nope. I was like, oh wow, the Phillies gave Schwarber a pretty long deal despite the age, and he's still kicking butt.
That's the guy you give a deal to. That prolific of a hitter, not the doofus in Baltimore. No, I'm sorry. The guys of even like first basemen of Kurtz and Freeman and those guys, those level of players. That's what some Mets fans think Alonso is. He isn't. The type of hitter that Schwarber is, that's what a lot of people think Alonso is. He's not. He just isn't. Schwarber's amazing. what I would pay to see a final in the home run derby of Jordan versus Schwarber. It would be epic. It would be so epic. But hey, maybe it won't happen. Looks like Junior Caminero is the only guy who's been announced so far.
It's just going to be him by himself doing batting practice.
Hey, I'm good with that. I'm good watching him take batting practice. He's got one of the sweetest swings in the whole game. But developing talent like that doesn't come to Queens. So it's just that type of caliber. I feel like of watching outside baseball or things like that. But even in that, and then you get to that final thing before we get into the studs and the duds. Freddie Peralta, another unacceptable performance. Doesn't even give you 5 innings. Can't wear it out for that. The pitch count getting up. The constant things that continue to kill him. Getting behind in the count. 2-0, 1-0, 3-1, just constantly having to stuff the strike zone, and they know exactly what is coming. We saw him make that adjustment of, having the ball over his head in his windup or whatever. Again, I don't know if they're looking to try and adjust him from tipping certain pitches, but he has not been able to make pitches consistently at all. I'm not saying that the defense behind him has been proper. Defense has not been terrible. It's been terrible behind everyone. But you need a lot more than this. And for me, in this certain stands you talked about, like the return on value of trading Jet and Sproat. Like I'm kind of like, it kind of looks at me as the sunk cost at this point for the point of the season that we are in, which is crazy considering we are before the All-Star break and already talking about this team in a complete dumpster. Burnt Toast putting it saying, that's fine, throw in anyone, get rid of Peralta. Like, for me right now, we talked about a possible extension with the guy. It's so different now. The feel is so different. It's changed so quickly that, like, I don't care where he goes. If you were to bring him back with, like, a qualifying offer, I don't care if you did that. I don't care. But he can't be the number 1 in the rotation. I don't know if he can be the number 2. To be honest, right now, I have my sights set, and that's going to get us a little bit more into the David Stearns conversation. I have my sights sets on that pitcher in Detroit, basically throwing anything that he wants at him. Because at this point, what exactly are we going to do with this rotation that already hasn't been tried out?
Oh, okay. I got to push back a little bit on that one. Listen, I'm not going to say Scuball is not generational, not elite, but you know how much Tarek Scubal's contract would cost if you were to actually pay him what he's worth?
I don't care at this point.
Okay, well, you might have to care after the new CBA. So when you're ready a team that's the highest payroll, I would not be. And listen, I everyone loves Scooball. Don't get me wrong, but you can't. Not yet. You got to wait a little bit on that. Now with this team, if you get rid of if you trade Lindor and get rid of a bunch of other stuff, go for it. But with the way this team is set up, you cannot. They're not in position for it.
They just don't. They don't have they don't have any, like. You can't go into direction of piecing things together anymore of Scotch tape. And that's the type of adjustment I'm talking about, adapting like David Stearns. Like, he needs to be more aggressive now because, again, I've set my patience on him for 3 years, allowing him to figure things out, what he likes.
What Detroit wants.
I mean, no, I'm not trading for him.
You're talking for a free agency?
Yeah, so for free agency, I am throwing whatever the hell he wants at him.
All right.
Like, I am throwing whatever. No, the trade, no. I'm not trading for him. No reason to trade him for him right now. Team's not going anywhere. But I'm throwing whatever he wants at him. Like, that's basically where I'm going. Like, I don't care. What do you want, Boris? Just milk us forever, whatever you want. Because, like, right now, I am not going into the discussion of, Freddie Peralta, let's hope he bounces back. And then we get a starting pitcher 3 out of Sean Manaea. When a pitcher like that comes across the market, you do everything you can to get him. You cannot. I'm not going to be like, brush past Corbin Burns, who's going into his 30s and maybe has some strikeout concerns of going down of how he's declined recently, or, a certain Blake Snell who, gets hurt a lot. This is Tarek Skubal. Like, do whatever the hell you want for him. Like, anything. Because that's the only answer. to possibly having stability in your rotation. Because right now, can you tell me who's starting in a week from now? No. I can't tell you because you don't know, because anybody in this rotation is going to look like they don't belong there. They'll possibly have a blow up. Who knows? Either way, speaking of individually, and again, not on the Scoo Ball, I can go on forever. That's more of an off-season topic. The studs and duds of this series. One player that was good, one player that was bad, based on their performance. Frank, I'll go to you. Let me know if you remember how to do this. Studs.
I mean, it's tough to pick when they were as poor as they were. But you know what? Let's give it to someone who really deserves it. Luke Weaver. I mean, I think not just... I mean, did he have a huge impact this series? I mean, listen, he was part of their win. But I think we just need to take a moment to really talk about... This was Stearns' best move of the offseason.
Yes,
by
he
far, was bringing in Luke Weaver. He's someone that my expectations were not very high for. He's not someone who has been lights out like this at this level. So whatever he's doing, just keep it up, because this is now going on for months at this point. I mean, it's really just been absolutely phenomenal, and you just feel like if this team could ever get a lead, that late in the game, you feel pretty good, because, like, you know what? At least I know I could go Weaver, I could go Devin Williams, and there's a good chance that I win the game. So it's just more so of, like, can my pitchers keep me close, and can my offense give me anything at all? It's like, if we could do that, you could win games with having a guy like that in the back end of your bullpen. And for what they paid for him, like, he's just been absolutely phenomenal.
No, it's been amazing what we have seen. He's been one of the guarantees for this entirety of this stretch that he's on. He gave up that home run to C.J. Abrams on April 30th. Ever since then, 24 consecutive scoreless innings. He's just been he's been absolutely phenomenal, and that does bode the question of what M-AZ says. Do you sell Weaver when his value is at his highest, or you keep him because you know that he can pitch in this town? Which is a good question to answer, considering the fact
when you're in last. I gotta put you like this.
That is
when
true.
You're in last place. Yeah. People are going to give up something good for a high-end reliever. Yeah. You take that. If the Mets were like in the middle,
on what the
if the Mets were like borderline, I'd say keep him. And because, like I said, you can pitch this town, you don't want to take that for granted. But when you're last place, you got to get what you can, because this team is so far from competing that get what you can. The guy's 32. Like, how long are you going to keep her? And relievers are finicky. He's not a guy who's an established year in, year out dominant reliever. He's had a phenomenal, like I said, he's had a phenomenal year. Yeah. But, I mean, with the current situation the Mets are in,
it depends. It depends on what is offered. Like, you have to get the right offer for him, only because he is signed for next year. However, I'm not going to sit here and blink an eye and be devastated that they end up moving Luke Weaver, because, again, he could be someone who helps a team in the postseason directly. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, let's look. I mean, let's just use this as an example. Let's look at last trade deadline, what they were giving up for relievers. Not even closers, just relievers in general. You were looking at like multiple top 10 prospects and like some top 5 prospects. If they're offering me that, you've been great, Weaver, but bye-bye. Like, I'll take that. We need to replenish. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah.
Listen, it worked with Clay Holmes. I mean,
it did.
They got to try something for that rotation.
I think his starting days are done. But no, I mean, listen, Weaver was expected to be a good starter at one point. He was a first-round talent. What was it, by the Cardinals, like 12 years ago or whatever. He's found, his footing in the bullpen. But even just the body language of this guy when he goes out there, he's just locked the fuck in. And he always had a very crisp fastball, but the way that he's delivering this to the glove side, I mean, no one can catch up to him. And then, of course, that devastating low 90s changeup he's got. I mean, that's how dominant he has been, and he's shown strides with that, and he's been one of the best moves made by David Stearns. A lot of them having to come in the bullpen. The same thing I, again, would also say about a guy like AJ Minter. The problem is he hasn't pitched for most of his Mets tenure, but when he's been on the field, He's been excellent for us. Excellent. I'm pretty sure throughout his entire Mets tenure, he's given up about 2 earned runs throughout his entire Mets career.
And has he
Doesn't
pitched
say
2
much
months
because he hasn't
worth?
pitched as much.
Yeah.
But
has he given us 2 months worth?
That's the problem.
Of a career.
And again, he would be another asset that you would auction off as
yes.
well. Like
another one,
the
especially
bullpen's going to get cleared out.
Yeah, and he's on that. Out. Yeah, he's 32. Like you said, injury concerns.
Weaver is
like,
the only
if
one
someone...
I would wait on price with. Like
okay.
Weaver, I would wait on price with to the final day of the trade deadline.
What about Devin Williams?
That's what I would try to do.
Devin Williams has a multi-year deal.
I don't think he's going anywhere. I'm sorry to say.
Okay.
I'm sorry to say I don't think he's going anywhere. I think there's too much, buddy with David Stearns with him personally. And I don't think there's really anybody in this pipeline where you're like, oh, there's my closer. And I don't think there's really anybody on the market that's going to be like, oh, well, this is better than Devin Williams. Shift Devin Williams to the 8th inning.
But I mean, like you talked about with Varland from the Blue Jays, it's like, well, where did he come from? Like, sometimes closers just materialize.
Sure.
It's one of those things where I don't know. I mean, listen, if they offer me again Mason, and he's not Mason Miller level, but you offer me Mason Miller package or as close to that, you have to take it. With the way when you're this bad, you have to take it.
I mean, yeah, it's about what the price is. Obviously. Yeah. I'm just not expecting.
You're just saying that they won't do it because even though they should, they won't, kind of thing. So
because this is a team that's going to look to compete next year, no matter if they win like 70 games this year, and they're going to look at it and say, okay, well, he's still here for 2 more years.
I mean, you could look at it, but do you have the ingredients? I mean, do you have what it takes to be good? I don't see it.
That's never stopped them before, has it?
No, it's not.
I just don't think it's gonna.
At some point,
I just don't think they're gonna do it. I don't think they would do it. But again, it's more about what the sell-off's going to look like, and I do want to have like all 3 of us here to look at what the plan is for the trade deadline, which is coming up eventually. But as for my stud, I mean, McLean was great in this series. Again, he was good. I thought Mania pitched a really good game, and then his defense kind of just screwed him at the poop chute from both of those runs that ended up, surfacing. That whole play with Lindor, which again kind of got misconstrued with the media, kind of thinking that Lindor was upset with Andy Green taking him out. It looked like Manaea was upset of being taken out because he wanted to finish the inning. And listen, I understand if you wanted to, but it seemed like Lindor was more upset with himself with the error that he ended up making. And this is a whole different discussion that's going to be more in the offseason about where exactly do they find themselves in the timeline of Francisco Lindor? Do they see him as someone who maybe they're listening to either offers on, or they're seeing as someone who maybe I don't know, because like I really, since he has come back and the type of vibe that it's been giving off, I have a strong feeling that at some point he's gonna get pushed out of New York. Like I do have that feeling.
For me, and I know we haven't gotten to Cohen.
I don't want that to happen.
Yeah, we haven't gotten to the Cohen thing yet. But for me, the Lindor Soto like not getting along last year, that seals it for me. Like I mean, it's time for Lindor to go. He's also 32. I mean, Soto's 27 and way better than Lindor. Way better.
And listen, this is like more of an off-season discussion, obviously.
Yeah, I know, but listen, if someone offered me a crazy package at the deadline, because Lindor's on this long contract at age 32, it's only going to get worse.
Yeah,
it's only going. If someone could get me out of this thing, I'd be like, please get me out. I want out. Let me out. Get what you can. And again, he doesn't fit anymore. This is a different Mets team than when they got him. Ewing was not here. Benj was not here. Soto was not here. I think it's totally different environment.
The attitude and just the vibe around it. It's
and
just
also
so different.
It feels different. Numbers, his performance does not warrant the attitude. You know what I mean? It's like you could be a jerk if you're amazing. He's not. Yeah. He has not, like I said, he's not been good on either side of the ball. Now, I just think it's
rubbing people, not only just rubbing the people the wrong way. It's just like I feel like that type of. I don't know how to say it. Just that type of feel that, like what you can write in for Francisco Lindor. Not much. We can't really feel, and it's not just the fact that, he's been injured this year. It's been a completely derailed season for him, but there's also a point of a fact of like, okay, the talent's there. Like you saw it. He hit 2 home runs in this series. Like both of them solo shots. Offense didn't do anything, but it's also the fact of like, there's other things that that Francisco Lindor has been known for and made his name on, of putting himself in the name of being a future first ballot Hall of Famer. And you're kind of seeing the curvature of that kind of slow down right now. And I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I am wrong, because I do really, really, really want this to work. But the way that he's being perceived now, the way that, fans are starting to turn again, and then they've always been on him, but it's a different level now, blaming him for the old guys going out. Like, I don't know how much of it we can take. How much of it can we take to a certain extent where it's like, okay, how much of this is real and how much of this is fabricated?
It feels like there's some sort of drama with him every single year. Like, feels like there's a Lindor story every year.
Of course.
And again, like I said, his talent, his performance does not warrant the extra baggage. It doesn't.
And that's the question you're going to have to answer.
And this contract is just, like I said, should get worse and worse and worse as time goes on. He is now 32. Prime is over. It's only getting worse. Your team stinks. Like, again, if your goal is like, oh, listen, my goal next offseason, no matter what, goal number 1 is get School Ball. If that's what you want, Lindor's contract needs to go. That would make it so much easier. Just take in School Ball, Lindor goodbye, and you know what? You figure it out.
Who knows if we even have baseball next year to do that? Yeah. But we'll see. And again, those are different discussions, obviously. But on the dud category, I think Peralta, again, we can just put him out there. He was just awful in this series. Yeah. But we can also, again, lump together those 4 kids who just stink. Vientos especially had some horrible ABs in this series. To be honest, actually, Brett Beatty offensively wasn't even that bad in this series. He's not going to build on it because he stinks, but, I just lumping it all together in those certain situations, the entire offense you can throw in a bin as of right now because of being hitless with runners in scoring position.
Bichette specifically, too, because this was his return to Toronto. Yes. He's batting third. You know what? He's batting after Soto and in between Lindor. Yeah. And he gave you nothing this series. He's been looking better. Yeah. But this was a big series for him, and nothing. Just couldn't show up when the pressure was on.
I think it's been better for him, but just
still not nearly good enough for what he's getting paid either.
No. And listen, I don't overcompensate to the fact of like, oh, well, this is a bloated AAV because of the short-term deal. The problem is that we need to see him at least show what he has shown throughout his entire career. And this is a career low year for him. I think we can all agree. And it's all really just, again, I'm not opposed to moving any of these guys at this point. Like if you're talking about getting up and under from Bichette, the only fear I have is them, getting rid of a guy like Bichette and being like, hey, we have Brett Beatty. No. But it's just, I don't know. Again, and if you could get something for Polanco, if you get something for these, like, if you want to sell off this as much as you want, go ahead. It's all really just about the window. Personally, I think with the trust that Steve Cohen's putting in Stearns publicly right now, I do think that a lot of this is going to be chalked up as, well, a lot of these guys got injured and we're just going to try it again. And I don't know if that's going to be enough to say, especially with, some of these guys getting older, going into their 30s, and then also the fact that I don't want to waste another year of Juan Soto in his prime. I just don't. But I mean, if there's any other duds you want to point out, and then we'll just get into what's going forward. But
I mean, like you said, they've been duds all year, so just keep going. Move on.
All right, sure. All right, awesome. Going forward, yeah. So for those of you, we've already hinted at it. The Mets owner, Steve Cohen, went on the show podcast presented by the New York Post with John Heyman and Joel Sherman. And they basically talked about him with the state of the Mets. Obviously, they weren't going to be talking about, shuffleboard or anything,
or casinos or anything.
But the whole condition of this listen, he was obviously asked and pressed for good reason about the status of David Stearns, and he gave a different look as to probably some people were expecting. But also he talked about, the future of baseball as well with the CBA. And he talked about a lot of different things. And I'm just, grabbing what we got completely. But on terms of the status of the job security with David Stearns, Steve Cohen was asked, he said, why is he still here? That's basically what Joel Sherman said to him. He said, why is he still here? What do you believe in him? And he said, David is reflective and adaptable. We'll figure out what changes need to be made, but it won't be David. Everyone forgets, does he get credit for 24? That does not count. We almost made the World Series, and that was just 2 years ago, so a mixed record. I'm not going to say it's going great, but it's too early to make evaluations. And I feel really strongly that if we're going to burn and churn, that's a terrible place to be. Every time you burn and churn, guess what? The next time, no one wants to come. If somebody going to put their career in your if somebody is going to put their career in your hands, if you're going to be short-term oriented, there's no guarantees, but we are going to live that contract out. He was also talked about the organizational future in regards to the CBA, and then going forward, with developing players as well, considering there's a possibility of the salary cap, which again, I still don't think is going to happen, but in terms of the negotiations of how they're going to be shifting to a new era of baseball after the CBA. He said, I'm extremely worried. Good teams develop players and have a pipeline of players. Development isn't linear. It isn't like some straight line where everything goes up. Between signings where we couldn't get players on the field and some lack of performance from some of our young players, it set us back. So in terms of the discussion with David Stearns here, listen, like I've been saying throughout the entirety of this getting worse and worse, I am not shocked at all. And I know that a lot of Mets fans are used to seeing, well, the team sucks, they fire this guy. The team sucks, they fire this guy. I am in total agreement right now that David Stearns deserves to lose his job, considering what we've seen over the course from some of the stubbornness or what has been, sticking to his guns. A lot of things that even I have said on here that have turned out to be wrong. But I'm really just not surprised. I'm really not surprised. Unfortunately, like we already said earlier on, like with Andy Green saying things, not being able to read the room is the main reason as to why this is going to go to an even more fiery level than possibly that Steve Cohen has expected. And we've seen Steve Cohen plenty of times say things that have gotten people to their farthest angst. And I guess, again, being worth $20 billion, you probably don't give a shit what people say on a daily basis about you. But he does really, again, he needs to be careful with how he articulates things. And telling me right here, oh, well, 2 years ago, we almost made the World Series. I don't want to hear that, Steve. I don't want to hear that. If that's the goal, or if that's what you're going to point out and that's what you're going to plant your flag in, we're in a really, really delicate situation here. And listen, I'm not sitting here, and I'm not going to be one of those people who are getting banned from Citi Field, pulling fire Stearns. But the fire Stearns signs and getting kicked out of Citi Field, which again is a whole other thing. But like Frank, I'm not shocked, but they're really like trying to bite the hand that feeds them the way that they're delivering this news or delivering this type of vision going forward, whatever that may be. And that's what's a little scary about it. Of Steve Cohen, you've owned this team for now 6 years, almost 6 years. And we're still seeing these types of tone-deaf ways that these messages are being sent to fans who are the shareholders of the team. And I'm not saying this in a very critique way or, pounding on the door with pitchforks, but I'm just saying you're asking for it. If this is how you're going to put the message out to saying David Stearns is going to stay while you're 14 games under 500 and saying, hey, remember the good times? Remember the good times when we had, in the National League? I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear that. Though it may be true, read the room.
Yeah, and first of all, why did Cohen even agree to do this in the first place?
I don't know.
First, how dumb could you be? John Heyman and Joel Sherman are trying to set you up. They're going to ask you questions that are going to get you in trouble. And then he went one step further by being dumb and actually giving the truth. What everyone, like I said, the whole Stearns thing of 2 years ago we were almost in the World Series. Well, okay, I understand that, but what you look as an evaluator, you say, okay, well, at the end of the season, we're almost in the World Series. What can we do to improve? How do we go to the next level and actually get to the World Series? And what happens? You miss the playoffs. So you're like, oh, but we were just so close to the World Series, and now we missed the playoffs. What happened there? And now you have one of the worst records in baseball. So you're just getting further and further and further. And like I said, it was only 2 years ago. Yeah. Look how far off you've gone in 2 years. Yeah, look how fast that happened. You were great, and now you're horrible in a very short time frame. So it's the more that Stearns tries to fix, the more that Stearns tries to improve, it gets worse. So you want this guy to continue making decisions? Because, a lot of these moves, it just...
Like I said,
I don't know.
He is adaptive like he said he is. He is as adaptive as he says he is, and reflective. Oh, you're going to have to make big changes. Big.
Yeah, so, and that's the thing, too, is that, I just don't know. I'm because when they brought in Stearns, we had, a certain idea of what kind of team he likes to assemble, what players he targets, how does he operate. And then when I saw this year's team, I just kept saying to myself, this doesn't feel like moves that Stearns would make. This just doesn't seem like a Stearns-like team. All these old, injury-prone players, these guys playing out of position, just panic moves on short-term deals. So a guy like Bichette, it just doesn't seem like Stearns. I look at the teams that he assembled in Milwaukee, and I look at this team, and I'm like, these don't look anything alike at all. So... is he adaptive? I guess, but he's not adapting in the right way because the changes that he's making are not good changes. So, that's the thing that also is definitely very frustrating to me. I think to me, having a team of Benj and Ewing is a lot more like a Milwaukee Brewers team that's makes great, has great defense, puts the ball in play, makes stuff happen on the bases, finding other ways to win. Having a guy like Luke Weaver, strong bullpen, that's much more like Milwaukee formula. This other stuff of out of position and old and injury prone, it's just not Milwaukee. It's not Stearns. It's not successful baseball. And to me, I still can't get over when Stearns was like, oh, you know what? Next year, well, there you go. It was just next year, maybe we won't get guys who are injury prone. Maybe we'll look at that a little more. It's you don't know that already? You haven't been a baseball decision maker long enough to know that you shouldn't target injury-prone players. If you don't know that, then you don't know the basics. What are we doing here? So, and that's a great point about...
Yeah, exactly. Buxton will be here.
Yeah,
Buxton will be here playing center field with the two kids on the other side, and Soto's going to be DHing in the third year of his... Yeah, that's the frustrating part of the evaluating the health of these players. That's another thing, but also it's more of just the overall impact that these guys can obviously give you. And we haven't had much from his free agency class this year. of guys that he has brought in. He's had good moves, just a lot of them being overshadowed in insane magnitude. Bo Bichette is one of them who has underperformed. Someone who makes his money being a bat and will continue to do so. The thing is that, again, if you are going to say that he is going to be adaptive, is he going to be adaptive enough to a point where you don't see a decent amount of stubbornness or a decent amount of hesitation with endless resources that you're supposed to have? Like, are you going to get me Skubal? Like, are you going to get me him? Like, going forward, are you going to get me? I can't tell if you're going to. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know what their aggressiveness is going to end up. We know about their aggressiveness when it was with Soto because they were attached to him for so long. But it's like, are you going to go after that one top 1% talent that the Dodgers do? Because, like, I was all for, bringing in, and obviously the contracts are a little bit different in New York because of the, the taxes and everything and everything that's a lot different. But I was all for, like, okay, not investing into the B tier of the play. Like, Alonso, a B tier player. Nimmo, moving on from him, that's a B tier player. They're good. But headlining it the way that they do, again, are you going to try and give us something that in that regard? Because, again, I still trust that the player development will get better because, guys like Benji Ewing, and then also from the pitching side, McLean and Scott have been very, very impressive. Some of them are going to be duds. We know that they will be. But it's also the fact that it's like, if you have that here, are you going to use the other resources to say, okay, let's cap this thing off and not say, oh, I believe that Jonah Tong is going to become an ace for us in the next 3 years. And I guess we're just going to have to wait throughout those 3 years. Like, he's going to have to find a way and find the will to go an extra mile. Is he capable of that? I have absolutely no idea. I really just have no idea if he is. And I was already talking about this with Andrew last episode, and I don't know if you want to clue in on this one. Day by day, as we continue to go on, I really start to begin to believe that Matt Arnold was the brains in Milwaukee, and that's the main reason as to why he continues to be the sustainable winner that they've been in Milwaukee. And I know Milwaukee doesn't go the extra mile because of the low payroll, but it's like, in separate points of, like, brains and resources, brains plus the resources, and then just brains, Matt Arnold has been doing laps around David Stearns ever since David Stearns got here. So it's like, was Matt Arnold the guy, or was it David Stearns?
I mean, look at the Brewers. I mean, they got the second best record in baseball behind the Dodgers, who, I mean, are obviously ridiculous because of
nonetheless.
Yeah, and they have to be the most exciting pitcher in the league this year. Miz, I mean, you guys throwing 105, like, just absolute craziness going on over there. So, and like you said, they're doing it much less resources. They don't have the appeal, they don't have the money, they don't have whatever.
They do have
you
Daniel
want.
Vogelbach as their hitting coach, but
I mean,
that.
Yeah, I mean, that's where we went wrong. We should have kept them around. But like I said, overall, I think with the stubbornness, I am surprised with some things of, like, the way Stearns has handled this whole Kodai Senga thing. With someone like Kodai, who Stearns didn't even bring in, and he's like, oh, well, we'll put him in the rotation.
I thought he was done with him. I really did.
Oh, we'll put him in the bullpen. Oh, we'll have an opener for him. Like, he's just trying so many different things for Senga, and a lot of it hasn't worked. And it's like, why are you sticking? And same thing like with Beatty and Viento. It's like, why are these guys getting so many chances when you didn't even bring them in the first place? Like, I truly do not understand that at all. Is that, like, listen, make some changes.
The mentality is that he has no other option. Like, I'm hoping that's it, because if he actually does say, oh yeah, we're very high on this player. Again, I don't even know, because again, we saw him talk up McNeil and then trade him the next week. So again, we have absolutely no idea what the mindset is with that. And I'm hoping it's just like, oh yeah, well, we have nobody else left here. Which, again, could there be somebody else that you give him a chance? Yes, but banking on that is kind of the same thing that you did last year with the McLean, the Sproat, and the Tong, basically just going the wing and a prayer. So again, I have absolutely no idea, and I'm very disappointed. I really am. I'm disappointed with how this has gone, because it's one thing for the team to suck, but it's also more of just the mindset of how they've sucked. And how they have sucked has been a lot with this dead weight on this roster that they continue and continue to push out there, expecting to get a different result. We saw how long it took them to get rid of David Peterson. David Peterson was here for 7 seasons. 7! And he had good year and bad year and good year, good stretch, bad stretch. And he's been so awful since being selected to that All-Star game, and then he trades him. Which, again, is not part of a sell-off. We're not giving up on their season. Okay, David, sure. I just really don't know where exactly... Like, again, there's been some things that I think that he's handled a lot better in terms of how it's getting perceived. However, I'm just... There's no insane stroke of confidence that I have in this. Like, I'm not going to say, oh, well... I'm confident in this department. I'm confident in the way that they do that, because they still find ways to shoot themselves in the foot. And that's the one thing I can't stand. The main thing. I never expected a David Stearns run team to shoot themselves in the foot as much as they do. That's what sucks. So there's that. But it's just, if you see David Stearns as the future executive of this team, there's going to have to be a change in approach, a change in voice, a change of something. Because he can't just sit here and go on and do exactly what he's been continuing on to do. I think that there's been changes that he has made, but are they going to be drastic enough? Are they going to be the correct move? Or is it just going to be second fiddle cheap out? Like something like this, like Slam is saying here. Trade for Framber instead of Scooble. Like, is that going to be, the second, like, you have the resources, use them. Use them correctly. And apparently you have 2 seasons to do that. So, considering the contract, go ahead and do it. Because if I see another offseason that's very similar to what he's been doing, we're done with the wait and see mode. We're done. Like I've been talking about, the wait and see. Let's see what we do here. Let's create what we got with these younger players. Let's see how they incorporate them. Let's see if somebody develops or improves. Well, guess what? None of those young players are developing and are improving. Benj and Ewing have been impressive, and I'm really excited to see what they can do going forward. There's pieces. And
they've actually gotten better as the season progressed.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's the thing too, is that they actually developed and right in front of our eyes. Like Benj,
absolutely.
We were at first I was kind of questioning, like, man, did they have this guy come to majors a little too soon, because he was really struggling when he first started the season, and then you know what, he stayed with it, made the adjustments, and now he's doing really well. And same thing for Ewing.
I mean, that's what he did.
Exactly. Ewing is always finding ways to still be productive. And even Ewing, like, I've had a lot of pet peeves, but I think my newest one is and this happened way too much, sitting Ewing against lefties. I feel like that has been a massive, massive problem, because my thing is that, exactly. It's like who you're replacing him with. It's like, oh, well, we're not going to start Ewing because we're going to put in MJ Melendez or Tyrone Taylor or like whoever else they put out there. They're not replacing with a better hitter. So if you're not, or Wagaman, like if you're not replacing him with a better hitter, then just leave his defense out there. And let's
respect the great Wag dog. Come on now. Let's respect. Respect
the
Wags.
JD Davis in training is what I call him. Anyways, but looking at someone like Ewing, he's actually hitting homers off of lefties now. So it's like, why were you sitting this guy? Like, he's just flat out the better player.
He needs reps against them.
Exactly.
I don't think he's done fantastic against lefties.
But he's showing improvements as he's got very little reps. Yeah. And how's he going to learn? How is he ever going to improve?
Them, 804 against righties. So again, there's definitely a drastic split there. But like, we need to see him as an everyday player, because he's been given he's shown that he can be an everyday player in such little time. In such little time in comparison to 4 or 5 years of the Beatty, Vientos, and all of these guys who, if you were to, again, gun to my head, like, is this guy an everyday catcher? Is this guy an everyday third baseman? I'd be like, oh, I don't know. I'd be dead. I would be dead by the time I make that decision because I can't tell. Because sometimes they have the stretch. Sometimes they do something. Sometimes they have a good game. You're like, okay. And then they just hit each other with bats. Like that's basically the epitome of those guys. And then you get to like, those young guys where, like, okay, yeah, you could have a foundation here and say what you want about the old guy, like ball player, all around ball player in terms of Benj and Ewing, they knock it out of the park in comparison to what you were getting from guys like Alonso or McNeil or Conforto, like all of those guys all around. Like these are guys who could be high IQ players with so many intangibles, so many different tools. That's what prospects are supposed to look like. Guys with tools that can help you win. Not guys of, oh, well, he batted .333 in Syracuse. That means he must be good. The Gavin Cecchini guy and the Dilson Herrera guy. No. Those aren't prospects. Those are just like, oh, young players that by default are the best in our organization. So again, it's just the difference between that. Again, I have trust in that. It's about them building around it. And again, you have a foundation you can build around. You have Lindor, you have Soto, you have young players who are making strides. That's great. But then you get to the other connecting where Marcus Semien looks like crap. Polanco doesn't play. Polanco hasn't played in a while. Maybe he's coming back. Who knows? But he can only be probably a DH. Like, you have you have your star power. I need to see MLB starting caliber players. Beatty, Vientos, Alvarez, Mauricio, all of them, I can argue, are not. The guy closest would be Alvarez. Is he a catcher, though? I don't know. And again, he's young. It's a tough position to develop. And he's up here younger than the usual young catcher. We've already said it. He's 24 years old. Usually catchers are called up at 24 years old. So he's had plenty of run at the major league, but like, it's about the improvement, the adjustment. I don't see improvement from these guys. It's either just linear or just to the ground. They're done. Like, even if you were talking about a guy like Beatty, right? Beatty showed something last year. Where the hell has that been all year? Nowhere. Even his defense has taken a dip too. His defense, he's like average at best at third base. He looked terrible in the outfield. Second base, average at best. Like, where are you getting the value from them? You're getting value from almost anything from Ewing and Benj. And I'm not saying they're perfect, but they're everyday starting caliber players. That I believe in. But again, with Stearns, what are you going to do to connect the rest of the 20 players on the roster? What are you going to do? Like, that he hasn't been able to figure out. And also the fact of, organizational, who are you going to commit to? Because I still see three different third basemen who either suck or are okay at third base still on this roster. While you paid $40 million a year for another guy to play third base. Alvarez will have reps at first base. He's 5'11". So I don't know if that's the best fit for him. But hey.
I mean, Luis Arias plays first base.
Yeah, he does. So there's that. Yeah. I don't know. I'm so frustrated with their sense of, like, I don't want to hear any more uplifting about these guys or uplifting about anybody else. They're done. The bed is made. It's just done. The future is Benj. The future is Ewing. You'd hope that the future is McLean and Scott. They can continue that efficiency, that sort of, consistency they've been showing. You hope maybe you get somebody else out of that farm system. Maybe Thornton is a back-end guy for you. Maybe Thornton can be your next mediocre lefty in the chain of mediocre lefties. The David Peterson, the Steven Matz, to John Neese, to John Maine. That whole link.
John Maine was right-handed.
No, not John Maine. Fuck. See, I'm already losing my mind here. My bad. One knee at first base. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I don't think Alvey at shortstop. He's got the neck tat. That might work. Yeah, I don't see him playing anything else except DH or catcher. But yeah, like, I don't need to see them try to, and this is how I said it from the beginning of the year with putting Beatty in right field. It's an overcompensation gimmick because he's not capable of doing it. Benji comes naturally because he's an actual outfielder. He has an arm. Same thing goes for Ewing.
And
he's a great
speed.
athlete. Ewing is quick. He never really played center field that much, but he's quick to get to the ball. And he had a strong arm that made him a shortstop in high school. Like, those certain tools, it's like, and then we just see this lump of crap between Beatty and Mauricio, and like, I don't know how many times I can rant about them. They stink. They stink. Whatever. But it's just, if you do want to ride out the contract, I get that. Because I get the need for not wanting turnover, wanting stability. However, he's going to have to adjust to a lot different stakes. I'm not going to say, oh, he's a big market GM. He should spend like a big market. And like, I'm saying, like, be smart and also be, resourceful. You have resources. Use them. Use the resources, especially on guys who we know could possibly be worth it. Like who's coming on the market, like Skubal. That's a guy who's a bona fide ace. And at the rate he's going, will be one for years and years to come. Again, things happen, but what else can you do? You're going to sign another Frankie Montas? That will work. You're going to sign another, again, I don't know. But where they are right now, what exactly can these guys provide, and plug them in with the resources you have? Play Ewing at second base. He might get some run at second base with Robert coming back, even though when Robert comes back, he's probably going to get injured again because he's Luis Robert. Which, again, is fine by me because I don't have to see Brett Beatty at second base. I don't have to see Brett Beatty in the lineup at all. Yippee for me. So that's fine if they move him to second base. I still want to see him play center field. But if they put him at second base, that's fine. But also, like Frank, what you were saying, put him in there against lefties. Give him ABs against lefties.
It's like you're in last place.
He hasn't been amazing with them. Yeah, he hasn't been amazing against them. But you have to let him learn.
Especially
you can't just cut him
what
off.
the alternatives are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you have these guys who are just amazing against left-handed pitching waiting on your bench, then okay, fine. But
I think
they're not better hitters, and they're
them,
definitely not better fielders.
Taylor's been okay against the lefties, but he also hasn't really played that much. So, like, Taylor's a fourth outfielder. You see him maybe start once every 7 days, 10 days. He comes off the bench as maybe a pinch runner. That's it. He's another guy that I think might get moved at the deadline. Considering if they're going to talk about evaluation, and it seems like at the path we're going, Nick Morabito is someone they want to see in that fourth outfielder role.
They sent him down pretty quick, so I don't know if they want to do that quite yet. But
I think they just called him up for injuries, but yeah. It's whatever. But I don't think he's going to play that much either way. But, I do think Taylor is a guy you can put on a playoff team, a guy with experience. Like, someone's going to ask for that. It's probably going to be a throw-in, but I do think he's going to get moved because he is a free agent at the end of the year. So there's that. So, hey, their most valuable offensive piece is Tyrone Taylor. How do you like that? But yeah, Either way, Jesus Christ, Doug, you're killing me. Rapid fire stories. Tobias Myers was optioned down to AAA Syracuse. Since May, it has been a disaster for him. ERA over 10. Lots of home runs over his past 20 innings. We'll see if he gets stretched out as a starter. We have no idea. Luis Robert Jr. began his rehab assignment for AAA Syracuse on Tuesday night, 1-for-3 with a walk and a stolen base. He's been sidelined since the end of April due to lumbar spine disc herniation. Christopher Morel, remember the returning piece in the Pete Alonso trade with the Cubs, has signed a minor league contract with the New York Mets. He was designated assignment and released by the Marlins last week. And he will make his debut as he's been assigned to AAA Syracuse. Career 96 weighted runs created plus hitter, had a few power outbursts, but basically kind of just Mark Vientos at this point, just basically them just looking at each other. In the Spider-Man meme, whatever you want to call it. Ryan Clifford will be representing the Mets in the Futures game in Philadelphia on July 12th, which is in about 10 days. Unfortunately, weirdly enough, he really has not had a great season at all in AAA Syracuse. A 67 weighted runs created plus, lots of swings and misses, lots of strikeouts. He's currently ranked as their number 2 ranked overall prospect, with some of their prospects graduating. But really, what has really become of it, obviously, with these guys being, the 4 rookies that have really blossomed out for them this year and have actually given you a decent amount. Some other stuff. We saw Jeffrey Yan got selected to the 40-man roster for the Mets, which likely means that, someone might be taken off, or maybe Joey Gerber, who left with an injury yesterday. Maybe he gets put on the inactive or something and they need a new pitcher. If you guys don't know who Jeffrey Yan is, he has yet to make his major league debut. He's 29 years old. He's a left-handed reliever, hard thrower. He's actually had a really good season for them in the minor leagues. But he's a man of theatrics. He strikes somebody out. He does a split on the mound. And he's a Showtime guy. So listen, if you want to go with gimmicks right now, go ahead and go with gimmicks, because this team ain't going anywhere. So you know what? If you want to see something entertaining, Jeffrey Yan is a fun guy to watch pitch. Is he great? No. But when he is great, he will show it. So if you guys want to see Jeffrey Yan, just look up videos of this guy, either on YouTube or on Twitter. He shows out. He shows out. Let's just say that. I don't know if he's going to do well, but he's had a good season, and maybe he's got some confidence in him. Yet to make his major league debut, because he's kind of a head case. But listen, any entertaining you can get from a very uninspiring team you have seen. And then also Didnel Nunez, his rehab has been moved to AA Binghamton, so he's on his way back. Sucks is what has been happening over the last calendar year with him. Yes, big showmanship from a guy like that. And if we had time, we would look up clips of him, because he is a very interesting fella. Let's just say that. Very, very, very interesting, very showy. Let's just say that. I guess that you'll get to see what, if he does come up at any point in the season, you'll get to see what I'm talking about. I get to see him pitch live a few weeks ago, actually, when he's with Binghamton. I don't think he was able to do many of his celebrations, but he was antsing to do them. Like, he was doing his little slides and everything. Like, it's entertaining to watch. Maybe it gets tiring at one point, but either way, Frank, there's other stuff here, but nothing is crazy. I mean, we could talk a little bit about the Lindor and Soto stuff if you want to towards the end. Either way, we do have a series to preview here that is going to be going to the House of Horrors of Atlanta. So if this season hasn't even gone even worse, just so you know, we're going to play 4 games in Atlanta. So this should be very, very fun for everyone. This Atlanta team is in first place. However, recently they really have not played very good baseball at all. They've started to fall apart. Their pitching staff has started to fall apart. I wonder why, because of their pitching coach. But, again, he starts off great, right? And then you get to June, July, the dog days of summer, and then there's Jeremy Hefter for you. But, rinse, repeat. So either way, 4 games that are going to be played. And as for those starters, we'll just go over them real quick, as tradition as possible, even though, even though we already know at the top of our heads, the Mets are just going to sweep all 4 games. All right, so game 1, Christian Scott will start the opener. As he's back in the rotation, he'll face the 30-year-old right-hander Grant Holmes, no relation to Clay. First pitch will be tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time on Pix 11. Game 2 will go to Sean Manaea. He'll face the former Cy Young Award winner and future Hall of Famer Chris Sale. First pitch is Saturday night at 8:08 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. So we'll get to listen to John Smoltz on 4th of July. That sounds like fun. Just a blast. Game 3, Nolan McLean will face the veteran left-hander Martin Perez. First pitch is Sunday afternoon at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time on NBC. And for the series finale, Freddie Peralta, looking to bounce back from that dreadful start he had yesterday in Toronto. He'll face the 32-year-old converted starter Reynaldo Lopez. First pitch is Monday at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Time on SNY. So 4 different games, 4 different channels. So for people who don't have cable, that is going to be a fun one to try and figure out. Or if you're just like, oh, you know what? I'm going to save my mental health and not watch this awful baseball team. Maybe that's the better way to go. But either way, this Braves team, like I said, has dropped off a little bit recently, has not been playing the best baseball, still sitting there in first place. However, there's a very low sizable lead they have on the Phillies, which again, maybe you could play spoiler there and help out the Phillies. Our good friends, the Phillies, am I right? But yeah, you look at this right now. Listen, their pitching staff overall has been good. It's banged up to all shit. You're going to get to see a matchup of Manaea and Chris Sale, who, again, is Chris Sale responsible for Manaea's injuries and setbacks? Perhaps. So
he's responsible for Manaea getting this contract.
He is responsible for Manaea getting his contract. For those of you who don't remember, him changing the arm angle from him watching Chris Sale. So there was that. And then, so yeah, you pretty much have your most, like, I guess, recency biased. You probably have the 3 most reliable arms you have at the current moment. Manaea's been solid. Scott's been very good for you. And then obviously McLean with the untapped talent. So there's that. Not to say that the pitching matchups favor you, but again, they will keep you in the game. Will you get a big hit? We're asking for it. That'd be cool. But either way, I mean, this is a good Braves team. We know they are. They're a first place team. They've cooled off, but they can catch fire at any moment because they're the Braves. That's what they do, because they do satanic rituals in their clubhouse. And they've done those for years. So, Frank, going into this series, obviously, House of Horrors, nothing ever goes right in Atlanta. The weather machines pushing the ball down or pushing the ball out. We've made all the excuses, but this is a good Braves team. They'll probably show it. I wouldn't be surprised if they lose all 4 games. Show us something, and that's something we hope will come. Pray. Something. Anything.
Yeah, they're gonna need something because I mean they are just so overmatched. I mean even good Met teams struggling in Atlanta. So just imagine how the team that's one of the worst in baseball is gonna fare against a good Braves team in Atlanta. And like you said, Atlanta is struggling right now. This is a big series for them. I feel like for them they have 4 games against a team with such a poor record that they really could try to get things going again. Like try to get back on track. Try to at least build up their lead or at least keep their lead where it is. And for the Braves, I mean, Acuna is still down. That's been like a
Mm-hmm.
big thing for them, I feel, and one of the reasons why they have not been able to maintain that hot
Mm-hmm.
start that they had. Drake Baldwin is back, but for the Braves, one of the interesting things for them is that they've used like 7 different catchers this season, with Drake Baldwin being injured, and right now Sean Murphy is down. But I just find it interesting because the Mets only used 3 catchers this year, and the Braves used like 7 or 8. So there's something like really, really weird when you look at their total team. But overall, like, you know what to expect. I mean, we've seen the Braves; they've maintained this same core for a long time. Like, you know what you're going to see with Matt Olson and Ozzy Albies. Austin Riley's still struggling, still hasn't been able to get it going just yet.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Harris, like, I mean, you just know the deal by now. And then for Atlanta, I mean, that bullpen is deadly. Suarez is injured as well, so that's a big loss for him because he was having an absolutely phenomenal year. But he's have some other guys who have been super, super solid in the back end. And like you said, I mean, you have a guy like Chris Sale making a start. So when you go from Chris Sale and then you turn to some other guys like Lee and then eventually Iglesias, like, that's a really tough matchup to win, just in general. You're going from Sale to a strong bullpen. I mean, and listen, like we've said, Weaver's been good. Devlin Williams been all right, but their rotation can't match Chris Sale. Their offense can't match the Braves. And like you said, being in Atlanta, you know everything is just totally different. So it's going to be maybe one of the worst series yet, maybe one of the most rough series. And listen, you know, have they hit rock bottom yet? I mean, let's see how low can you go? I mean, we're gonna
Yeah.
find out because maybe it will
Limbo
be
this shit.
maybe it'll be an even bigger wake up call to really see how many changes you need to make as we do get a little closer to the trade deadline. And since we are so adamant that David Stearns is the guy, well, listen, let's see.
Yeah.
I mean, you're facing
Let's see it.
first place team in the division. How far off are you from them? We know record wise you're very far off, but let's see performance wise. Show it.
Yeah. Why not? I mean, listen, they're 15 games under 500. A 4-game sweep puts you 19 games under 500, and I'll tell you right now, that is when I think it officially. I think that if they were to get swept 4 games in this series, that's going to put them into actual sell mode. I think that's probably going to be where they officially press the button. We already know it's coming. Like, even if they do not get swept in this series, it's going to come no matter what. But you're going to press that button of like, okay, yeah, we're selling now. What do you want for our guys? Like, you get swept 4 games, that's it. You know, if you press that button, you're going to press this button and it's going to sound like this. That's it. We're done. It's all yours. There it is. On the Mets side, obviously, guys to look out for in this series. Well, let's find out. There is a decent amount of lefties you're going to face. So again, Carson Bench is another one. Carson Bench has been nothing but phenomenal against left-handed pitchers this year. He's actually been better against lefties than righties, so reverse splits. You're going to see a decent amount of Lindor from the right side, things like that. Bichette, that would be something that I would like to see get going. And yeah, so the right-handed hitters too, as well. So yeah, but I'm looking at you, Freddie. Frederick Peralta. Philip's saying the same thing. Freddie needs we need Freddie to pitch well so we can get a haul for that. I'm rooting for and the kids. Yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. I'm like, okay, listen, Freddie, beat up the Braves then. Like, just to beat up the Braves then. If you want your contract, but you want to get traded out of here, I don't know. Whatever you want. You haven't done a good job doing it, but any value you can get, I'm good with it. But
And also, Peralta is a good example of like, is it Stearns or is it Milwaukee? Because I mean, look how different he is now that he's not
yeah,
around that organization. So that's another
maybe
example of like just how strong what Milwaukee currently has is. Because
it's
I
got to
mean,
it's got to be the
yeah,
water. It's got to be the water.
maybe. I mean,
Something.
they are the
Yeah,
brew crew. I mean, what they're brewing, they're
little bit
brewing
of
some good
war.
stuff.
They got the water. Yeah. So if you look at Fangraphs right now, they're at a 3% chance to make the playoffs right now. The Mets. So
Wow,
3%,
should be lower
three
than that.
percent chance, 97% faith. Is that where we're gonna go with? But like, if there's anybody else you want to say is to look out for this, because to be honest, it's all really kind of just melting into a big blob as they continue to lose.
Yeah, I mean, for Lindor, it's like you want to. I mean, can you build off in those couple home runs, and just show that you're still at least somewhat close to being worth your contract? Can you not make defensive miscues on routine plays? I mean, that's kind of what we're looking for here. Is that like, can we not embarrass ourselves as a team? Can we not have little league inside the park home runs? Can we not drop routine ground balls? Can we know how many outs there are? Like, can you just play regular baseball? Like, is that a possibility?
Boy, that would be really really cool. I'm looking at this Braves lineup right now. The funny part is that from all of their starting players, Austin Riley's the worst hitter in all of their lineup right now with a 74 OPS plus this year.
Not Dom Smith, it's
is
Austin
cooling
Riley.
Down. Wow.
Yeah, it's
shocking.
It might be
shocking.
landing
How
on
could
Earth
the Mets
soon.
give up on this? Yeah, because he stinks. The thing is that they got to figure something out. And again, it's all really just about the direction. But I do think that if you do get swept 4 games just outright, that's going to be where they press the sell button. If I were to do it based off of perception here, or maybe Cohen goes on another podcast and says, "Hey, we're going to buy at the deadline, and we're just going to, try and give one last hurrah with this." But burying yourself 19 games under 500. But to be honest, 19 games under 500 before the All-Star break is really impressive when you think about it. It's really impressive in the wrong way, but it's really impressive. Like, how is this possible? How is that even possible? Crazy to think about. Christopher in the chat saying, Carson, based on your tone throughout the show, you sound defeated. What makes you say that? Listen, I'm here for the ride, but boy, are they making it rough. They really are. They're really making me want to just open the car door and just dive into oncoming traffic. That's basically how it's been feeling watching this team. But hey, they're
just driving through potholes. I mean, it's just it's a bang every few seconds.
There's a lot of potholes in New York City, in the tri-state area. Like there's just brutal. So now we have seen the Mets lose games. As of recent, we've seen them lose it in 3 different countries now. Because they played in London. They lost one of those games in London a few years ago. We saw them lose in Canada. And now we've seen them
They're
lose
very good at
all
losing in
around
the United States. Yes, of course.
What other place are we going to the moon next to lose there? Could it happen? I don't know. It could happen. I have no clue, but we'll see. Some other stuff before we get out of here. Doug's saying, did you see that kid crying about being a Mets fan? I guess he wanted to be a Yankee fan or something. There was a clip of a kid getting pissed off. Listen, that kid, he can screw off, it's either you're with us or against us or whatever. But no, I mean, it does, it displays how bad it is. I mean, I think kids understand how bad this team is now. Kids again, there are children sometimes, they have to learn the game. They'll get
don't learn by watching
baseball.
This team. Because that game that they had, I wasn't here when it happened, but when they had that game when every single infielder had an error, that was a disgrace to Little League. That was a disgrace to everything you're taught as a kid. Any baseball camp you've ever been to, any baseball you've ever watched at any level was, I mean, that was worse than that.
That pretty much sealed the fate for Mendoza, pretty much.
I mean, how could it not?
That was it.
How could it not?
Oh, absolutely. No, that entire game, they had 6 errors, all on the infield. 2 of them, I think, were from Lindor. 2 of them, I think, were from Simeon. 1 each from Bichette and Vientos. They even had miscues that weren't even counted as errors in that game. But also, the only other time where that has ever happened, where a Mets infield, every single one of them have had an error in a 9-inning game. The last time that happened was in 1962. They're tipping their hat and going close to 1962 range. For those of you, again, who weren't around for it, or for those of you who don't know about the
I can tell you
Mets,
that was as bad as it possibly gets. Because I mean,
that
I
is
watched
one of the worst teams of all
awful.
time.
Yes,
that was one of the worst teams of all time.
And it was their first team too. Don't forget, it was their first.
The first
year was the worst year.
The first ever. To be honest, was probably one of the main reasons as to why Casey Stengel started to deteriorate. That was the main reason as to why that season. I feel like that was the lynch point you can talk about the end of Casey Stengel.
They were like, okay, we have a new team now, and this is what we're going to do, and they've really lived up to it for a majority of their history.
And yeah, so basically that was what they were doing. They were holding on to a piece of Mets history that is probably some of the most embarrassing. So when I heard that, thank you to Michael Mayer for putting that out, by the way. Shout out to him because he put that out there of, every single infielder making an error. When I heard that, you're like, okay, yeah, this is over. We are done here. You cannot sell me on anything else. We are done. The only thing you can sell me on is selling whatever you have as of right now. Because if you are paying homage to the 1962 Mets, you deserve nothing. You deserve none of my time, and I've given you plenty of it. I still will give you plenty of it because it's my job. But dear Lord, when you hear 1962, you sound the alarms and everything's blinking red. Oh my goodness. Maybe they can get the record for most getting swept in a 4-game series in a season. They could do that. We'll see. But yeah, no, that Cubs series was some of the worst baseball I've ever seen. But yeah, let's see. But yeah, no, for the kids out there, if you want to learn how to not play baseball, just turn on the Mets. Learn. Listen, we don't lose games; we learn lessons. As we would say. Last piece of information, of course, the Soto Lindor stuff was talked about as well on that podcast. I tried to kind of dance around it because I didn't want to make it about just the two stars because I also believe, again, I think organizationally there's a lot of problems. A lot, like an immense different amount of problems. The problem, but again, when your two stars, your two prominent stars, your top two guys on the team are supposed to be your two best players. Apparently it has been resolved here. But again, we're talking about common denominators. We talked about common denominators plenty with Carlos Mendoza. It can continue to do with the so-called leaders on the team. We know that Lindor had some issues with Jeff McNeil. I had the issues with Jeff McNeil too. So I find that relatable. Hashtag relatable. The only problem here is that this is two more prominent guys. Jeff McNeil could have been moved at any point. We knew that he could have been moved at any point. Actually, no, he's invaluable. You can't get rid of him. But the thing is that when it's talking about guys who are both here long term, again, I feel like it's more of the fact that, okay, these guys have differences, but if they're actual problems that they've had, it is something to monitor. And again, that's one of the main things that I said beforehand of like another one of those components of where I'm like, okay, we're at a point where it's possible that Lindor is pushing himself out of New York. I don't know if that makes sense, Frank, but it's like, I try not to buy into so much of it, but it's like, it's noticeable, obviously. It seems like they have a decent amount of respect for each other, the way that they've talked about each other. But if it does continue to be a problem, I mean, there's only so many times where you're like, okay, well, we're going to go in here with our stars being Lindor and Soto, and we're going to build around this. Like, again, like meriting the performance. It's not an ideal, it's a sticky situation right now in terms of Lindor and Soto. And right now, I don't think they can get unstuck, basically, is what I'm saying. I mean, you could have Brazivan help you with that. I'm sorry, I had to say it. But again, there's a call for concern when like the so-called possible leaders of the team, the best players on the team, are publicly by the owner saying, oh, they had problems. First of all, why is he even mentioning it? But it's Steve Cohen. So
like
I
they
don't even know
shouldn't
what
have
the
been
hell
doing
he's
that
gonna say
interview in
half
the
the
first
time.
place.
No, of course not. Especially with the New York Post, which will
and why would
sniff
you
around
give
you
in to
forever.
that so that they could absolutely run with it? They were like, oh my gosh, we struck gold when he said that.
Yeah. And again, that's I don't know if that's just more of like the fact that he is, the Post has a big relationship with Scott Boras and he wants to keep that up as well. But I don't know. A lot of the public appearances that he makes, again, where we're continuing on, we're in year 6 of him owning this team. You
like, how
gotta
did that
stop with
help
the
the
tone deaf
Mets?
shit.
Him
How?
doing that?
I don't know.
Like,
Very
interview.
tone deaf, just so tone deaf, and I don't
No
get
clue.
it. But either way, if there was an issue, they said they resolved it. Do I trust that they have, though? I have no idea. I really don't think I do, to be honest, at the rate we're going.
But also, I mean, you're looking at, I mean, he's talking about last year. Okay, so last year, Juan Soto goes nearly 40-40, and Lindor wasn't great. Like I said, both hitting and in the field and on the bases. Like, it was just a bad year for him. And now you fast forward this year, Soto's got the 956 OPS, and Lindor is still trying to figure it out. You know what I mean? He's still at, 688 OPS. I mean, we're talking like 300 difference. I mean, it's just like I said, they're not even on the same planet right now so far this season, to the point where it's like, what is there to have any beef about? Like, Soto's way better than you. Get over it. I mean, Soto, I mean, he may be kind of to himself, and he's here for the money. It's a business. That's how it works. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, listen, he's here to hit home runs, and that's it.
Lindor's been derailed all year.
Soto has a ring. You do not. Keep that in mind as well.
Match up those rings, boys. Jewelry stays forever. I mean, listen, I'm hoping it doesn't get to that point. I really don't, because I do think Lindor is a special player. I do. I really do believe that. I believe that if he were to retire today, the guy would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, he has that career to do so. I believe so. He's a 60-win player. But
well, I mean, maybe
he's made.
Maybe with advanced numbers, with stuff like that, maybe he makes it in, but
I'd say that he is. He's not helping his case if it's going to the trajectory of his late 30s, and this is what we're getting from him. It's an injury-derailed season that he has had, yes, and there's a lot of drama around it. It's just really, how much of the capacity can you take of this drama? Because we've had a decent amount of it every year. We really have.
I still can't believe Lindor was a runner-up to the MVP in 2024 and didn't make the All-Star team. Like, how is that even possible?
Could it be that a first-half award doesn't mean jack shit?
Well, and it looks good in the Hall of Fame resume. He's like, oh, here's like the multi-time, the 15-time All-Star, whatever. Sure. Like,
well, some guys are just first-half merchants, and then they just can't handle the dog days of summer.
And some guys are just second half merchants. They can't handle the cold days of spring.
Yeah, some are, or just some people are just 81 game merchants like Josh Bell, who just chooses which half he wants to be good in every single year. A guy who I'm still surprised hasn't been a Met yet. That's crazy.
Yeah, and they could use him because they have a huge hole at first base. So we could use some switchies. I would take it.
Doing a great job. I think Jared Young is a swell fella. I was expecting Jared Young to go off.
He's fine as a bench bat. He's fine as a bench bat. But for Green to come out and say, like, oh, he's going to get the majority. But if you're
comparing him to Mark Vientos, he's your starting first baseman right now.
Well, there you go. And that's the issue. Yeah.
But we'll see. The only problem is I think what they've been doing is trying to wait out to see if Ryan Clifford can do something, and he has had a abysmal year. Yeah. So there's that. But, yay, they also expected Corey Polanco probably play 120 games, and he's probably not even going to play 20. So, yeah, this is a mess. This is a mess, guys. The team's not in a good position. Part of my brain, it's a small part of it, is hoping they get 4 games swept in Atlanta so they can just hit the sell button and just be done with it. There's another part of my brain that's like, okay, maybe win something, do something. But hey, either way, we're going to be here along for the ride no matter what. So guys, a reminder to tune in, tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday afternoon, and Monday night, which is such a weird lineup of games, for watch along coverage of Mets versus Braves, hosted by the newest members of Mets Weekly, Evan and Matt. 10 minutes before first pitch, 7:05 tomorrow, 8 o'clock on Saturday, 12:20 on Sunday, And then on Monday, it is 7:05 p.m. as well, such as the first game. Barring any delay needed, live play-by-play commentary, banter, out-of-pocket jokes, some special guests along the way, which, to be honest, we've been straying away from putting special guests on here because, again, it's just been so miserable. So maybe we try. It all starts tomorrow at 7:05 p.m. Eastern Time, 10 minutes before first pitch. We hope to see you guys there. Either way, either 3 or 4 because that's the we'll see. We'll see where they get and then get swept by the Royals. That's another thing. That could possibly happen. But yeah, I think we've said as much as we can possibly say. Frank, welcome back to the Mets Weekly Waves. I wish it was a lot happier, but yeah, this is just where we're at this point.
Meet the mess.
Meet the mess, basically. Basically just waiting for Tree's new video, which again is always fun. It's always funny in my opinion. But we will see. Just a complete and utter disaster. We will be here for the coverage of the trade deadline and everything. Of course, we usually go live every year for that. That's always fun. Collaborating with other YouTubers and content creators and podcasters. So that should be fun, either if the Mets try to ruin our days, no matter what. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. For those of you watching or listening on playback, you want to join the conversation live in the future, make sure to subscribe to the Mets Weekly YouTube channel. Turn on those post notifications to know when we go live. Make sure to follow Mets Weekly on X, TikTok. Follow all of us individually. The links are in the description. And finally, let's go Mets. We will see you guys next time.